Hello and welcome to Plugged In, a podcast by Okefenokee REMC about our co-op, our community, and our shared connections. I'm Michelle Hutchins, your Communications and Marketing Coordinator, and joining me today is Lorene Reid, President of the Golden Isles Veterans Village that is currently under construction in Brunswick. Thanks for coming in today and helping to educate our community about what you're doing.
Thank you, Michelle. We're very happy to have any opportunity to tell everybody what we're doing. It's really a labor of love. And when you talk about homeless and homeless veterans in particular, we very strongly believe that that should not be something that we see in our community, that we should do something about it.
So let me back up a little bit and explain that I first became aware of the Golden Isles Veterans Village when you came to the Brunswick Golden Isles Chamber Ambassadors meeting. I happen to be an ambassador.
Thank you for doing that.
And talk to us about that. But then subsequently, as a direct tie to Okefenokee, you all applied for a grant with our EMC Foundation and did in fact receive a grant earlier this year to help fund the beds in the tiny homes that you are constructing.
And thank you for your support.
Oh, that all goes to our foundation trustees, obviously. But I think, it's important to realize these things are happening in our community. So the bottom line is you are constructing 30 homes for homeless veterans.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit more about that and where the idea came from.
It's 30 tiny homes in a community center, and I keep really stressing the community center because that's going to be the place where a lot of them will gather and really work together on healing. But we got the idea from the COVID Dundee in Savannah. Okay. It's another homeless community for veterans. At least it started for veterans only, and I think has morphed to something maybe more than veterans, maybe not. I'm not sure. You hear rumors all the time. But I do know that they had a wonderful idea, and the concept came from them. They've been open 2 years now and do have a little bit of history under their belt, and we do know that it works. So what the concept is to have a case management model where each veteran in a home will have the opportunity to get services to heal. They will get to a point where they are back into the community and being a part of the community instead of homeless, and hopefully never homeless again. And that's going to take some time because every veteran has a real different reason for being homeless. We all have a different story. So that's why it's important to take each person where they are and get them to a different place. So the way that the services will work is that you will have medical services, counseling services, education and job training services, and you will also be connected to the community through churches or through a lot of different activities. Hopefully, we're across from Manor House at the corner of G and Martin Luther King in Brunswick. So we're hoping that the veterans, instead of going over to eat at the Manor House, they will help volunteer.
Oh. Wow.
That way, they become a part of the community in a different way, giving back. So you asked about the veterans in the homes. Mm-hmm. They are going to be anyone who is a veteran in the area and homeless has a honorable discharge from the military. No one who is dishonorably discharged will be accepted.
Gotcha.
And the way that we put people in the program is to interview them, and there is a list of people out there that are in several different databases. But the way that we will do it is to look at each individual, talk with them, get a copy of their DD-214, which says, this is the way you were discharged.
Gotcha.
And if that is not available, we have VA, Veterans Administration employees who are willing to help us and get the DD-214 for them.
So let's back it up a little bit. This is a huge undertaking, but you obviously focused on Brunswick because you identified a need, or a need at some point was identified.
Yes.
Talk to me about the scope of need and what motivated. You told me where the concept came from, but what motivated the idea of even looking to do something like this come from?
Well, one of the Rotarians in my Rotary was in Savannah and saw the COVID Dundee and loved the concept, brought it back to Brunswick and said, I would like this to be a Rotary project. So they brought it to all the different Rotary clubs here in Brunswick and Jekyll. and St. Simon. So there were 4 in total. And they all said that they would help get things started.
Let me just jump in real quick.
Yeah.
Was there some understanding or concept of the scope of need in Brunswick? I mean, what the
Yes.
homeless veteran population
Yes.
was?
There have been studies, and the Time and Emotion study is done every couple of years, and it did find that there are over 500 homeless in the area, and that about 42 or to 45 of them are veterans. So,
Percent or individuals?
No, individuals.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So it's not a huge number, but it's enough to say we need to try to fix this.
Okay. Yeah.
And we're really staying with the concept of just dealing with veterans.
Right.
There are other communities in the area that are doing homeless housing, and we've decided on 2 things. First of all, it's going to be transitional. They're not going to have a home forever.
Yep.
They will come in, they will get the services that they need, and then they will transition out into the community again as a different person, hopefully better than when they started.
Sure.
With the services that are individualized to their needs. And the second thing is not just the fact that, they're going to work in community. So the community center is very important. The veterans are somebody that has really, they've sacrificed a lot for us, for a great country, and it's time to give back to them. We've got the transitional piece that makes us different, and we also have the idea of the case management and individualized care for each one as something that's very important to us.
So you say that there's an awareness of about how many homeless veterans we have in the greater Brunswick area. How are you reaching out to those individuals, or how are they becoming aware of the opportunity to, maybe move forward in life?
Good question. Several of them are registered with the VA, Veterans Administration. Several are registered with the state Veterans Office. Several are registered with various counselors in the area and receiving services already.
Oh, gotcha.
Some churches are aware of people. I get calls all the time. I got a call from someone that graduated from Glenn Academy and said somebody that graduated from GA is back in the area, found himself homeless and needs a place to go and recoup. They had PTSD. They wanted to at least get a jump start on healing, getting better. We're not ready for that yet, unfortunately, but when we are, those are the kinds of things that people will come to us with immediately because they already know of people.
So you said the location was the corner of MLK and G Street, kind of across from Manor House.
Yes.
So talk to me, and for our viewing audience, we have a little diagram here of what the village will look like. So each veteran will have their own home.
Yes.
It's a tiny home.
It is a very tiny home. The standard homes are 128 square feet, and the ADA compliant for wheelchairs is 144 square feet. They are very tiny.
So it's like 20 and 10, if I remember correctly?
Yes, it is.
Yes. 20 standard, 10 ADA.
That's correct.
Gotcha.
The model for the ADA home is almost complete. We have the exterior painted. We're working on the interior now. So we will have something to show people, and they can at least get a better idea of what it's going to look like. But the idea behind the home is that it's not a home forever, so it can be comfortable while you're there.
Yep.
And you're not going to have every amenity in the world, but you'll have anything you need. You will have a bed/couch, and the bed is thank you to you. The mattress will be a bed bug mattress. We'll make sure that we keep these guys safe. We also have a place for them to have cooking and a little kitchenette. So they'll have a refrigerator that will be under the counter. So it's like a dorm refrigerator.
Sure.
And there is a little freezer at the top. Then you also have a countertop sink, cooktop, microwave. You've got a coffee pot, anything that would make life comfortable. And then you have a full bathroom. So there's a barn door that opens, and through that you've got a sink, a toilet, and a shower. So you've got all the amenities that will make you comfortable, but this is not including enough to have somebody else come live with you. And it's also, you can't have guests overnight, it's just for you.
Yeah.
The community center will be a place where you can gather and watch a large screen TV with everyone else, or you can have a meal that somebody brings in, because we've already had churches offer to bring meals and, kind of gather and talk with the veterans, which will be great. So, it really is a different concept.
Yes.
It's not a house forever. So you don't want it to be so comfortable that they don't ever want to leave.
Sure. So it provides some solace and some comfort, but
Yes.
it's also built in such a way, it sounds like, to encourage that community engagement, not just with their fellow village mates, but with the greater community that's been working to support them and to help them transition from where they are to being more fully integrated into society.
Absolutely.
Is that about right?
Yes, absolutely. We will have a van to take them to services. So if they need to get to a counseling appointment and the counselor is not coming to the community center, then that will be available to them. Within the community center, we will have a clinic, we will have a counseling room, and we will have a kind of education room with a lot of computers and printers and a place to research for whatever job or training they might want. And then there'll be an area that's going to be a huge area that'll have doors that will close. So you'll have 2 large rooms or one even larger room.
Okay.
And that will be the gathering place for everybody. In the front of the community center, you'll have an office area where the executive director and possibly the police department will have desks that they can come in. So Brunswick and Glenn County Police can both be a part of the community as well. They can stop in anytime and do their paperwork. They can just kind of, check out, who's there and say hi, just to be a part of that veterans community.
Now, I don't recall, do they have a rent payment, or is it complimentary, or is there a sliding scale? How does that work?
We will have a small fee that we will charge, about $250 for utilities.
Gotcha.
But we're even toying with the idea at this point of having it put into an account for them, having it be their money, and when they leave, they get it back.
Oh, wow.
We will have cash management, money management classes that people have offered to do for them. At the Cove at Dundee in Savannah, there are 4 people who have actually gotten good jobs, and they are saving enough money to be able to buy their own homes. 2 of them, I think, are at the point where they're going to buy their own homes, and 2 more very close.
So the idea is that they become employed, active members of society, and they do this in the comfort and context of the Golden Isles Veterans Village to get them on their feet. What is the expected average length of stay then?
We figure around 3 years would be the max.
Okay.
Because if you've got substance abuse issues, you have issues with PTSD or whatever other things that you came with, it's going to take some time to overcome that and change your paradigm and, look at the world differently.
Sure.
So we're hoping that it'll be under 3 years, but it might not be. We're not going to kick them out if they're close. If the case manager says they have followed every single appointment they're supposed to go to, they've been there, they've done a great job, then it will definitely be something that, we're not going to throw them out.
So an endeavor like this obviously costs some money.
It does. Just a few pennies.
So, I mean, the land in and of itself, I mean, have you gotten things donated? How are you, do you have an active campaign? I mean, because there's ongoing costs. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. The total budget is about $1.7 million. And that is for the purchase of the land, the development of the land, the services that will be provided, and also it will be just something that will give us some money for operating as we open the doors. So all of that is included in that budget. To date, we have raised a little under $900,000.
Okay.
So we're getting there. We have several other grants that are very close, and we could get those soon. And if we do, that would be great. Otherwise, we are continuing our our campaign, our capital campaign has been in the making, and we're continuing. And one of the things we're also doing is some fundraisers. Okay. So we have a murder mystery coming up October 23rd that is a smaller event, but a different spin on what we've done. It'll be more of a fun event.
Sure.
And if it's successful this year, we will take it next year and make it even bigger and better. But that kind of a setting really requires a small group to start with.
Gotcha.
Because everyone has, people have parts, and it's really
Sure.
kind of a fun thing to do. But anyhow, we've had dinners. We are going to have another one. The Elks Club in Brunswick is sponsoring a dinner in November, so that will be something that's coming up as well. And so we're continually doing things like that, in addition to writing grants and foundations and that sort of thing. So,
do you have a typical veteran that you'll be housing? Is there a typical demographic, or are you seeing the full spectrum that, from what you're aware of at this point?
The full spectrum is what we're expecting. Mm-hmm. You've got people who are 18 and people who are in the 60s or 70s. It just depends.
And is it for any veteran, or
Yes.
is it geared toward men, or is it men and women?
Men and women.
Okay.
We don't know of as many women, though. There are very few that are homeless. In the numbers that we've seen, we don't know.
Okay.
So when this starts to unfold and we've got the word out there that it's available.
And applications come in.
That's correct. There was a young woman who came up to me the other day when I was on the property doing some painting. She came up and said, I really need a home, and when do you think you'll be open? I said, are you a veteran? She said, no. Oh. So I said, okay. And then that's when we started talking about other opportunities and where to go and see if there's availability. But I do think that's going to happen as well. Word of mouth.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I mean, how has the word of mouth been? I mean, you do have a very visible site. It certainly raises a lot of, what's that kind of? Yeah. So, I mean,
now we do, yeah.
Because you've been working on this since when?
I've personally been involved since September of 2021.
Okay.
And at that point, there was a group of missionaries that are at South Newport Baptist Church in Townsend that came and asked for a meeting and said, we'd like to help.
Oh.
So what we did was we said, sure, you can help put together these component pieces of the exteriors of the homes, and they're sitting in a connex, and we can just, get them to your property, and we can do it on your property. And they said, well, why not do it on the property of Golden Isles Veterans Village? Well, there was a very good reason. We didn't own it at that time. We didn't own it until February of 2022.
Oh, okay.
So that was the first thing I did. One of them, anyway. Yeah, made sure that we owned the property before we put anything on it. Uh-huh. So the 20 homes that are the standard size homes, they were started to be put together with the exterior framework and the roof trusses, and that happened in Townsend. Oh. And then we shipped them to our property in December of 2022. So it's really been fast and furious since I started. And it's all been good. It's just that we've had a lot of delays along the way also. Delays, getting help for an electrician and a plumber and, very talented people out there, but they're all very busy.
Yes, so, exactly. Yeah. Well, I think of one of the other conversations I had like this with an organization in our Florida service area. And I'm assuming it's similar, but as an example of the group in Townsend, when you do start to begin things like these, they do kind of take on a life of their own. And it is sort of amazing, some of the help that just comes out of nowhere that you don't expect.
Exactly. One day we were building on the property after the homes were all placed there, and there were 60 people there. There were 5 churches, and they were all people from Vidalia. Ah. So they all came with 5 pastors. A couple of them were even craftsmen. And they brought their families, they brought their church membership. It was great. We got a lot done that day.
That's fabulous.
Yeah, so there's been just so many heartwarming stories of people who really want to help and they want to make a difference.
So if people do want to contribute or to learn more, where can they go to get more information?
We've got a website, and we also have a Facebook page. So Golden Isles Veterans Village on Facebook, and then you've got www.goldenisleveteransvillage.org on the web. Both of those will give you the information that you need and, how to donate. But we are always looking for volunteers as well.
That's what I was going to ask
Always,
next. Yeah.
yes. We've got the interiors of the homes we're doing next because we finally have the majority of the plumbing done. The last stage of plumbing is to put the fixtures in the bathrooms.
Okay.
So he's putting in the showers and the sinks and the toilets. We have most of those on site already, so that's going to go pretty quickly. But once that's done, all of the electricity needs to be finished. And then after that's done, we'll do the internal, what do you call it? Foam insulation or whatever. Yeah. So the insulation goes next, the walls go up. Then we start with the kitchenette and the beds. And, it's amazing how much work is involved in something like this.
Even though they're tiny homes.
They're just like a big home.
Right, exactly.
That's what I was surprised at. I thought, oh, tiny homes, that's going to be a piece of cake.
Yeah.
It's exactly everything that you would put in a large home and all the same wrinkles of obstacles in your way as well. So it's just been a real learning experience for me, that's for sure.
Now, do you have at this point a projected opening date?
We're looking at the first quarter of 2024.
Okay.
Things are moving quickly now.
Mm-hmm.
We had hoped by the end of this year, but it's most likely not going to happen.
Yeah.
We're already in October.
Yeah.
And we still have landscaping and grading and all of the walkways and a seating area around a flagpole that's going to be a centerpiece. So there's a lot that's yet to be done.
Well, so on a personal note, what drives you?
Oh, gosh. I am always driven to do something that helps somebody else. And this is going to help 30 somebody else's. And it really is something that I think is important. My husband's a veteran. He was blessed to have a lot of people around him, but right now is having medical issues, so I'm his caregiver. And it's so important to have people in your life that are willing to help you get to a better place. And I think all the homeless veterans that are out there need that, deserve that. And not all of them are going to say yes to it. We know that as well.
Sure.
They'll be offered the services, they'll be offered the opportunity to get things that they don't have right now, but maybe they're happy where they are, or they think they are, and they won't say yes the first time. Maybe they'll say yes the second time.
Sure.
We don't know, but we're open to whatever comes our way, but we do know that it's succeeding other places, so we do know that we will have a successful model. It will make a difference.
Well, I think the work that you and your board and everyone that has contributed is amazing and a testament to the giving back to, our servicemen and women who, they serve our country. And like we said earlier, headlines certainly indicate that not all is roses all the time.
Right.
Exactly. I mean, I grew up in a military household. My father was career military, and so then my husband was also in the National Guard. So it's been part of my life as a family member, so to speak.
Just like me. Yeah.
Yeah. So, my dad doesn't always talk about his time in Vietnam, and he served 27 years in the military. And, there's things you see and things you hear, but they don't always share everything.
No.
And, but like your husband,
he was also in Vietnam.
Yeah. And they've had the family and whatever needed to be there.
Exactly.
But I think this is a wonderful opportunity for those that don't. And if you are interested in finding out more, whether it's contributing, whether it's volunteering, whether it's, organizing other activities or finding out how your organization or your services may benefit the veterans, again, go to start at www.goldenilesveteransvillage.org.
Yes.
And all the contact information is there.
It is.
So it's a good place to start. So, Lorene, thank you so much for coming in today and telling us about this. And
thank you
for all you're doing.
Well, you do a lot in the community also, so it goes two ways.
I suppose.
Like you said, it takes a village.
It takes a village.
That's right.
Well,
thank you.
On that note, everyone take care, and we'll see you next time.